Good morning. It is Wednesday, February the 11th of 2026. And here in my old Kentucky home, the sun is shining so brightly and it's 48 degrees. And my phone says it feels like 40 and it is pretty cool out. But it's a gorgeous day. And I got up early and got a few things done around here and went down to check on my husband. We got him a TV set up so that he can watch TV if he wants to. And we had a sweet little visit. And I was sitting beside him in a chair. And he said he didn't sleep well last night. They're trying to get his medicines under control. And so everything's kind of topsy-turvy at the moment. And I said, why don't you just turn toward me? And I'm going to sit right here in this chair and you just take you a little nap. Oh, he'd just look at me. So he did, and he slept for about 30 minutes while I worked on my Sudoku puzzles and saw people that I knew coming in and out. So far, so good. And I appreciate everyone that viewed that video I put up last night. Honestly, but this is how crazy I am. I was going to just upload it and then publish it this morning so that it would go out. Well, I hit something and it went out last night, but that was okay. But I didn't want to make anybody cry last night or be sad about it. Just the truth. I just spoke the truth. So I'm glad that a lot of you enjoyed that and passed it on to others to watch. I was reading something this morning and I thought, today I pray to remember God's many gifts. He gives us so many gifts every day, and we need to stop and thank Him for those. Now, I've got 2 or 3 little things here I want to read to you, and then I'm going to tell you that exciting story I was talking about the other day. I was thinking, now see, I don't think things just happen by chance. I think that God he controls our life and He has a plan. And as I've told the story of adopting my girl when I was in my late 50s, that even as she was born, or before she was born, God knew that child would one day come and live with me and my husband and would be the sunshine in our life. And look how things have worked out. Well, you don't even know all the things that's worked out down through the years, that she has brought such blessing day after day in our lives, and still blessing me every day. So I don't think this just happened per chance, that I was given this 2025 upper room. And then the other day I was given the right one. So now I'm reading both of them. But this one was spot on me. And I have to share, and we've said this verse so many times, that in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will, this says, He will make straight your paths. But now I think in the King James Version, it may be, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. And we're always talking about that crooked path, which is, like a big decision in our life. What are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? If you'll pray and ask Him to show you, He will straighten that path and you'll know what to do. How will you know what to do? How do you know if it's right? You'll find peace. You'll have peace. Because the other day I started to make a decision about my husband, and when the hospice worker left, I wasn't all in a big fluff, but I knew that wasn't what I needed to do. But I had agreed with her. So the next morning I got in contact with her and I said, I don't want to do that. That's not what I need to do. And then the right choice was made, and I've got to keep him close to me all this time. So I'm thankful for that. If you'll just ask him and listen. Now, I'm not going to pray something this very second, and he might not just show me exactly, but he will show you. Just ask. It says if you ask, he'll answer you. But here it says, oh, this is where I got the remember God's many gifts. It says that when I'm completely exhausted, what a blessing it is to end a long day by snuggling my sweet son as he falls asleep and talking with my husband in the quiet of the evening in the midst of life's busyness and day-to-day tasks. Let's remember God's many gifts to us. Dear God, when we feel worn down, help us to be grateful and to see each task we do as a gift from you. We've all got a lot of gifts today. Have you thanked him for them yet? I've thanked him for them all day. Now, the upper room today has my little verse in it that I just want to remind you of, which is, I will pray without ceasing. I think as we continue to get more into the Word, to write our verses, to do all these different things that we're doing to draw ourselves closer, that we will desire more to pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing. I love that. Now let's see. Oh, and in my little gratitude book, I want to read that for you. Now this is actually for February the 12th, which is tomorrow, and that's my husband's 79th birthday. I've told him several times. I said all year long, I've told people you were 77, and then I look and you're going to be 79 tomorrow, so I don't know what happened. But anyway, he's going to be 79 tomorrow. That's a miracle right there. But listen to what this says. It's so sweet. Lord, I never imagined when I was young that growing older could be such a blessing. The experience and the wisdom I have now about how life works. These are gifts I would never trade for anything. Some people dread their later years, but mine are so blessed, I can only imagine how good the rest of my days will be. Thank you, Lord, for allowing me the privilege of getting older. Isn't that sweet? That is so sweet. And that was just like it was written for somebody's birthday, so I think it's written about his birthday. I'll have to maybe read that to him. Well, this story, I think, was like in 2020 or 2021. And here, I'm always a day late and a dollar short. I had not heard this story until the other day when a friend of mine was telling me about it. I guess he thought, where have you been, down in a hole? Because I think everybody in the world knows it but me. And I printed out some stuff from the internet that was talking about it, and I'm just going to kind of look through it, probably read a little bit of it to you and tell you about it. But this is about a man that's named Johnny Dunbar, and he is a pastor in Somerset, Kentucky, at a Heritage Hope Church of God. Now, I don't know Johnny personally, but he has a brother that's my age that I went to school with, and I know some of his other siblings, and they were raised here in our county. And so he has this church in Somerset. And he had said that one day he was just sitting at his desk at the church, working on a sermon, and he was quietly thinking about how many of his church members were struggling. Because if you remember back in 2020, how would you have ever thought in your life that something like that could happen, that our world could be shut down in a snap? We couldn't go to church. We couldn't go anywhere without wearing a mask. And during that time, so many people quit going to church. And we're streaming, we're watching it on the internet. And you know, you can kind of get into the groove of that. You know, I don't even have to dress up. I can wear my pajamas and sit in the living room and watch my pastor preach, drink my coffee. I didn't even have to go to church. So I think that after a certain time, you slowly adapt to whatever you have to do. So I think so many of us got comfortable sitting at home in our chairs and thought, well, I don't need to go to church. I can just watch at home. Now, I know that there's a lot of people sick. A lot of people have got medical problems that they cannot go to church, and I totally understand that. I'm talking about us people that are physically able to go to church, but there's just a little bit of laziness in there that you think, hey, I'll just stay home. So when we started, the doors of the church were open. Many people did not go back. Did not go back. And I think that Brother Johnny was worried about that at this time, thinking about, you know, how this had all influenced our churches and the people. And when we're away from actually seeing our brothers and sisters in Christ in person, talking to them, I think we kind of, you know, get isolated. We kind of get into our own world. We get away from maybe the spiritual way that we have felt when we all get together. So here's Brother Johnny. He's sitting there working on, thinking about his congregation and working on a sermon. And he said, my folks in the church never come to me. They never ask for help. Because, you know, during that time, I'm sure a lot of churches were suffering financially because no one was coming. Probably people were not tithing at that time. Maybe if they were staying home, they just thought, well, you know, I kind of need my money. Some have lost their jobs. You know, it was just a really rough time for many, many people. He sat there wondering how he could offer assistance during the government shutdown without wounding anyone's pride. And the phone rang. And the voice on the other end was this young lady pretending to be in desperate need of baby formula. Now, I don't know this lady, but I know she doesn't live a very long distance from Somerset. And my understanding is, and I may not have the story exactly right, but this is the gist of the story. She is on TikTok, and she evidently comes up with different ideas. And she was calling that day, she was calling like 10 churches, just randomly picked them out. I don't know if they were all in Kentucky or if they were around the United States. I don't know that. And she called and said to Brother Johnny, he answered the phone, she called him and she said, I have a 3 or 4 month old baby and I'm in desperate need of formula. Can you help me? Well, she was doing this kind of as a joke to see out of the churches that she called, how many would be willing to help her. And he says this time that something felt different and her voice sounded urgent. And he said yes, that he would buy some formula for the baby. What kind do you need? You know, how can I get it to you? Blah, blah, blah. You know, they were having a conversation. And then she says, I was testing you. It was all a fake. She didn't even have a child. She was testing him to see if he would be willing through his church to get formula for her baby. So I'll read this part right here. It says, instead of reacting with anger or condemnation, Pastor Dunbar just kept talking with her. And in the conversation, which began with deception, ended up sparking something much bigger than either of them had expected. Within days, the recorded call had spread across social media. Now, she had put this on her TikTok, and she actually had the recording of them talking, and I think she played it on her TikTok, and then some news out of Lexington found this story, and they played all this. You know, it was seen worldwide. It says, within days, the recorded call had spread across social media. People were moved not by outrage, but by grace. The gentleness in his voice, the patience, the kindness, and he's very soft-spoken. It's wild, Pastor Johnny says. I've listened to that recording once because I can't stand hearing myself talk. But I still can't find anything in it that explains why people responded the way they did. It wasn't me, it was God. So the woman is a TikToker named Nikolai Monroe, Nikalie Monroe, who ran the viral social experiment. She had called dozens of churches pretending to be a struggling mother out of baby formula, and many churches declined, sparking major debate about Christian compassion and charity. Since then, Pastor Johnny has heard from people all over the world who said they had given up on church, on Christians, even on God. But something about that call awakened something in them. It says Pastor Johnny laughs when people refer to him as an Appalachian Pawpaw, a nickname given affectionately by locals and now echoed by people across the country who have watched his story unfold. I'm 69 years old, he says. I pastor a small church. I'm not well known. I never expected any of this. Yet calls came pouring in from the Washington Post, Christian news outlets, television stations, and people simply wanting to say, your kindness restored my faith. His response? A mixture of humility, bewilderment, and deep gratitude. I told my church, God has given us a moment in time. We may never see anything like this again, but while it's here, we're going to use it to bless as many people as possible. And bless them they have. Pastor Johnny has intentionally avoided the spotlight, but he did allow us to share the ways his church has chosen to bless their region. Members received envelopes containing gift cards to Kroger's and were told to go out and find someone who needed encouragement. No fanfare, no cameras, just kindness. Their church is helping renovate units so vulnerable widows can have a safe place to stay, offering support, rescues, and funding to help people find shelter as the weather turns bitterly cold. Pastor Johnny has made sure pastors in the area have the resources to help people immediately without having to wait for committees or approvals when someone walks in hungry. The church prepared 125 Thanksgiving food boxes, each packed with a full holiday meal for families in need. An Amazon wish list has been the source of overwhelming generosity with essential items flowing in for families facing hardship. Each act is fueled by the same belief. If God tells us to give, we give. And once we release it, the outcome belongs to Him. One of the most powerful parts of Pastor Dunbar's story is the transformation of the young woman who originally recorded and posted the call. Pastor Johnny remembers praying early one morning and sensing God speak. This is about her salvation. When she came to visit his church, Pastor Johnny greeted her with compassion, not judgment. And when she hugged him before leaving, he recognized a deep, unspoken pain. I whispered to her, God is using you. You don't even know how many people he'll touch through this. She left that day with only a few hundred followers on TikTok. Within minutes of posting, her audience exploded into tens of thousands. God works in the oddest ways, Pastor Johnny says. Only he could make a mistake, a lie, something that the enemy meant for harm, and turn it into a worldwide testimony. Pastor Johnny's hope has always been simple. If anybody writes the story of this church, don't let them find me, let them find Jesus. And that's exactly what's happening. Through a surprising phone call, a viral video, and one pastor's gentle, unwavering kindness, thousands of people have been reminded of something they desperately needed to believe again. God cares about his children. Isn't that a wonderful story? I don't know where I was that I did not know about that, but this guy that I was talking to the other day told me that story, and I mean, I was just blessed to hear him tell me. And he was telling about, and it mentioned in there about that at that church they gave the members two $50 Kroger gift cards and asked them to go to Kroger and just walk around in the aisles and find people that they felt like needed that money and give it to them. And he said the ones that he gave them to were so thrilled and thankful. But I'd say he got the best blessing of all, to see that a need was met for the moment. So I think, we've all got so much to share. We've got kind words. If you don't have money, you can always give people a kind, encouraging word. Lift them up. Pray for them. I was thinking yesterday at the nursing home, this young guy young next to me, came in to pray. He was from a local church. He just came in to pray with each individual, what do you call them? Patients that were in the nursing home. And I thought, that really takes a lot of nerve to walk in, especially people that are so resistant. And he'll say, that God loves you and can I pray with you? And he was praying. He prayed with my husband. And I just admired him for doing that because, I don't know that I could do that. That's hard to do. Now, I hear a lot of you, like if you're in the grocery and somebody says, will you pray for me because I'm having this, this, and this, that they will stop right then in the grocery store and pray. Now, I don't know if I could do that. It's just different people have different callings to do things for the Lord. And if you ask him, he will tell you what he wants you to do, even if it's just praying. If you can't get out of your house, you can still pray. But I wanted to share that story with you. I thought that was so great. And if you want to look that up on the internet, his name is Johnny Dunbar of Heritage Hope Church in Somerset. And you can read, there's a lot of information on the internet about that, about how the news covered it and got pictures of him. I actually got the video of him talking to that girl. And you'll be blessed. I listened to the video. If you will want to look that up, you do that. So I guess I've been on here about long enough, and I'm going to rest a few minutes, and then I'm going back down to the nursing home and see what's going on and just take it day by day and just enjoy the day, which that's what we're supposed to do, isn't it? Now, I had this one little funny I was wanting to, and this is so me. Let me see if it's you. 1 minute you're young and fun, and the next you're turning down the stereo in your car so you can see better. Do you do that? I know that I've done it. Hey, I hope you have a great day. Oh man, I saw some lady yesterday in shorts, and I almost said, do you realize it's only February? You better put those shorts away. But it made her feel like spring was coming, and it'll be here before you know it. So just enjoy the day. Oh, remember all of our readings. I don't have them all laid out here, but you know I can't do anything without making a mistake. I noticed on our reading for today, it was Psalms something, and I had verse 15, and the chapter just had 5 verses, so it was the 5th verse instead of 15. So if you've looked at that and thought, somebody's nuts, it was me. So just read it again. Whatever, it was Psalm something, I think. But I'm enjoying those verses so much. Still enjoying my verse writing, my chapter writing, all these different readings that we're doing, our verses for the day, and I hope you are too. So just hang in there, and I hope to see you on Friday sometime. I'm off schedule, but maybe I'll get back on it one of these days. So see you soon. Bye-bye.